everybody. It's Coach Kary, and this is Prime Time Live. I have an amazing guest here today. I'm so excited. I met Dana at an event, and we were chatting backstage at an event. We were both being recognized for some leadership success we had. And I could not believe when she told me her age, and I'm going to share with you in a bit. But let's introduce Dana, and then I've got some great questions that will hopefully give us some insight into how, we can all age well and gracefully into our late 50s, 60s, and beyond. So Dana Randazzo is a successful entrepreneur in the wellness space for the last 14 years, but longer than that in her fitness career. She has a strong foundation in business. She holds a Bachelor of Arts in Business Administration from Wittenberg University in Springfield, Ohio. As a former high school and college athlete, her commitment to health and wellness runs deep. She's a registered yoga 200-hour certified yoga teacher. She's a certified personal trainer, a certified cycle spin instructor. What isn't she? A Meta PWR instructor. I'm going to ask you what that is in a second because I wasn't aware of that one. And CPR certified for professional rescuers. As a proud mother of two successful sons, Christian, a pediatrician, and Noah, a finance major. Wow, the house is taken care of there. And the wife of Ross Randazzo for 34 years. Yeah, she's been married 34 years. Dana embodies a life of dedication, both personally and professionally. And Dana is 61 years young. I was like, no, you're not. So you got Coach Kary 56, Dana 61, and we're both living our best fit lives. Dana, what is a Meta PWR instructor?
Sure, that's Meta Power.
Ah,
So it's, working out with, functional training, more with the
yeah.
bags, and you usually have a timer of some sort with it.
Is
Yeah,
that usually a group setting, that kind
it's
of?
a group setting, right?
Ah,
So you'll either be doing some high energy, so a hit workout
yeah.
with timers, 20 to 30 minutes, usually more around 20 minutes. So
Mm.
something good to get your heart rate up, right? I know that you have talked in this group about, you just did talked about the Cooper's test, I think. And that's a true test. We want our VO2 to be up, right? We want to be able to not be winded when we're carrying our grandchildren up the steps.
Or chasing the dog down the street when it runs out the door. I had to do that.
Exactly. Exactly. So yes, that's what it is.
Awesome. I love that. Now, let's get started. I've just got some fun questions here, and I like to ask different questions of different professionals. And, let's really focus in on the woman who's midlife to 70 and beyond. So, say they're not like us. They haven't been working out most of their adult lives, and they're realizing from all the education we have now that they need to protect their muscles and their bones. Like they know,
Mm.
and it is now becoming mainstream. I've been preaching this from the rooftops for my whole adult life about the importance of fitness. And a lot of times I've been poo-pooed in life about my fitness.
Yeah.
Well, but, women are starting to realize this is really important. It is key. How do you tell someone, like, how can someone get started if like they're your friend, they're like, Dana, what do I do? Where do I start?
That's a really great question because I do get that question a lot in the world that I'm in. So, you want to start simple. It took a lot of time for us to, our bone loss and our metabolism and everything doesn't slow down overnight. We don't have all that. It's not like, okay, one day we're like this and the next day we're like that, right? It takes many, many years. And then when we get into that midlife and we want to make a change, because that's what most of us want, we want to make a change and we want to do better, we want to be better. We need to take it slow. We just need to give ourselves grace, slow it down, and remember, don't jump in, with both things. So one of the things that I always coached on as a personal trainer was, hey, let's either work on your nutrition first or let's work on your movement first. Let's not do both of them together. Because what happens is, okay, I'm going to eat 100 grams of protein and I'm going to go to the gym 5 times a week. What happens, Carrie?
They
You know.
fall off the wagon after about I find it's about 3 weeks or so, right?
Yes, exactly. They're not the 10% that makes it, right? So I would encourage you to start slow. And just think about simple things. Getting that rest, getting that sleep, keeping your brain healthy, prioritizing your protein, and then also do get some movement in. And that movement for you to start with, it may be, hey, I am going to walk around 2 blocks today. Yay. And then next week, I'm going to walk around 6 blocks. So, whatever it may be, take it slow, extend yourself grace, don't compare yourself to other people. And if you're going to the gym, get some instruction, especially if you're new to it. So, get with a certified personal trainer for a few visits. Learn to do some push-pull movements so that you're having overall body balance. So if you're going to work the front, you're working the back too, right? Squats are a really good thing that you can do. One of the things that I tell my folks is you want to be able to get up and out of that chair,
Mm,
right? Hands free, because if you're holding something, you can't put your hands down, you're going to drop it.
mm,
So, I don't have one in here, but a good place to start with something like that is just go ahead and grab, your grandkids' ball, like basketball or kickball or whatever, or your kids' toy, and just hold on to it and just sit yourself down in that seat, tap your little booty on that seat, and stand back up and engage that core and engage those glutes. And the glutes are your bottom. Your core is from above your knees to below your chest, your breasts, right? So you want to engage all of that as you're sitting and standing and holding. So
mm.
that's a great place to start.
Awesome. I love that. What to do in the gym, what to do at home. And yeah, one simple thing I always would tell people, let's just start with one thing. What's one thing you can honestly start right
Right,
now that you could commit to for the rest of your life? Not for the next 3 months, not till the wedding next fall, for the
right.
rest of your life. And then add on. I love it. Awesome. So what are some mistakes then you see these beginners, a beginner comes in, starts with their fitness routine. What are some common mistakes? And you already said trying to overdo it or doing too much, all that.
Right.
What are some other common mistakes you see people doing when they
Another
first?
great question. Yeah, absolutely doing too much at once. So all of a sudden you're sore and you're like, I can't go back in 2 days. I'm too sore. You don't want to be there. You're doing too much. You want to take it slow. Just pick like 3 or 4 exercises to do. The other one is giving up too quickly. So again, you've gone on Monday, you're sore. You're gone on Friday, you're sore. You're doing too much. Now you're like, I'm not going to go back to the gym. I'm just going to just sit on my sofa and try to eat better. Don't do that. Don't give up. Also the other thing that I see a lot of is, we come from that era, especially this us midlife ladies. We come from that era where cardio, 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 right? And that was something that we could fit in when our children were really small, right? When they were little, because they were still in bed and we were up with our girlfriends at 5:30, 6 a.m. Hey, we're gonna go out and run 3 or 4 miles. That was great. It was great for mental health. It kept you moving. It was great movement. But now that we're getting a little bit older, cardio, it's not so much your friend. We should be out there walking, right? We want to get our steps, try to get that, 8 to 10,000. That's fabulous. And it can be broken up throughout your day. But strength training, please, strength training is so important. And it doesn't have to be, hey, I'm going to do 15 of these and I'm going to do 15 of these. No, that's not it. I want you to pick up a weight that's a challenge for you. So, again, that's where you get some instruction. So, if you can easily pick up a 10-pound weight, maybe you go to 15-pound weight and you do 8 to 10 reps 2 to 3 times, right? We want to keep osteopenia, we want to keep osteoporosis at bay. So those are some tips. And the other thing that I see is people don't take time for recovery. They don't take time for recovery. They don't fuel their bodies correctly. One of the heartaches that I had as a personal trainer is they would leave me after an hour of just, working hard and doing everything that I asked and being so coachable, but then getting in their car and eating a sleeve of Oreos,
Or
right? Or
driving
running
through
through
McDonald's.
McDonald's.
We both.
Yes, yes, Carrie. So those kind of things, that's not fueling your body properly. It's getting that protein within 20 to 30 minutes of that workout, getting those electrolytes in, getting that creatine into your body. Those are good things. And those are buzzwords right now, right? And
Yes.
that's why they're buzzwords.
And I'm going to ask you in a couple more questions about
Mhm.
what you take and eat. But let's continue on with the exercise. So we talked about common mistakes. You talked about cardio is not like the number one importance at this time of life. It's definitely not the number one. So if we're talking about muscle and strength, what are some top exercises? Like, so say somebody, they just got started, maybe they used to work out, they're familiar, whether they're at home or at the gym, and they're going to work out at least 2 to 3 times a week. Like, what are some exercises that should be getting done? Like, they just must be getting done every week.
Okay, that's a good question, and it's you're going to hear different schools of thought on that, and I can share my school of thought on that. First of all, you need to warm up. So let's not jump into our strength training without either getting on our stationary bike or even just things like this just for a couple minutes, getting those joints moving in, muscles, that's fabulous, right? Moving those legs. So getting that warm up in. And then, again, I was talking about sitting down in your chair, tapping your bottom, right? Squats. Squats are really important. And holding something is even better. So, even if it's just a ball or something light that you can hold at home or a milk jug. And I prefer to do your sumo squat. If that's the only one you're going to do, I really like that one. So you're going to spread your legs wide, you're going to turn your toes out, you're going to squat as low as you are comfortable with. Everyone is different, right? Everyone has a different level that they can get to a mobility movement. So you squat down, and you squeeze your glutes when you come back up, and you could hold just about anything. You could hold your phone, whatever. Just start somewhere, okay? Do that 2 to 3 times a week. Go to fatigue, but don't make yourself so sore that you're uncomfortable, right? So
Mhm.
squats. The other one is your posterior chain, so your backside,
Yeah.
right? So how about some deadlifts? And I'm a firm believer in, a lot of us as we get older, we get, maybe we have degenerative disc disease, or, maybe we have some issues in our backs or our hips. So really putting a bend in your knees for that deadlift and keeping that back flat, that neck neutral, those eyes about 2 feet ahead of you on the floor, and getting down and doing that deadlift, right? And it can be with a kettlebell, it can be with your milk jug again, it could be with a ball, whatever. But coming down to about mid shin and then coming back up, engaging those glutes, engaging the back of the legs. So those are two really great movements that you could throw in for each day. The other one is your push and pull movement.
Yeah.
So again, overall body balance. So I just talked about with squats, we're engaging glutes and quads. Deadlifts, we're engaging glutes and more your hamstrings, right? So you can see your
Mhm.
front back.
Yeah.
The other thing that I would recommend is, we do some sort of chest press, and it can be basic. Again, if you do not have dumbbells, grab that basketball, lay on the floor, bend your knees, and just, a little bit of push press, pushing it up, chest press. Or you could do a push up on your knees if you're new to it, or on the wall, right? Engaging the core, engaging the core. And then your pull movement is going to be, more this. So that's going to be more like a row, right? So if I'm holding like a couple soup cans or a couple things, I could just row it back. And you could do it standing, or you could also hinge forward, right? Hinge forward from your hips with a flat back and bring it up and in.
Mhm.
So those are the four movements that I would really look at. Of course, I always say you can always throw in the accessory movements too, right? We can do some kickbacks. Everybody knows how to do a curl. You could throw those into. You will be engaging those muscles with the push pull also. And then the other thing that I think is really important, Carrie, and I know you'll agree with this, is balance. Okay. So if you're going to throw in that accessory, how about we try standing on one leg? If we can't stand on one leg, let's dip that toe down and then let's do our arm curls, right? Or maybe we do one at a time and we do light weights. Or maybe we do some, okay, look, Carrie, what's this called?
Flies?
Not flies, but just lifting your shoulders. I don't know. I'm just drawing a blank all of a sudden. That happens sometimes.
Shoulder, well, like a shoulder raise,
Yeah,
fly.
just your shoulder raise. So doing
Side.
that with one leg and engaging that core. So core
Lateral, like
work
a
is
lateral raise, I guess.
lateral raise. That's the word I was trying
That,
to
yeah,
think
yeah,
of.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's like you look like
I
you were
just did them
flying there.
today.
We're
Oh
having our
well.
midlife moment here.
It was a midlife moment for sure, for sure. You don't need to be fancy, you just need to be intentional, right? So
Oh,
being intentional, get some instruction, And remember, everything that you see on social media, they may say they know what they're doing. I
Mm,
would go into a gym and get someone who's certified to help you
yeah.
get started.
Yeah, and I love how you had that. I always say the same thing. There's got to be some kind of bending at the knee and hip, whether it's squatting. And don't tell me your knees are sore because we can put a ball behind your back and we can take all the load off the knees and
Right,
squats at the ball.
right,
There's a way to progress and do everything basically, right? Like even with push-ups, do them on the back of a couch, right? If you can't go down on the floor.
right.
But
There truly is.
yeah, and that's why getting a professional to help you, you can get the modifications for the, like Dana said, pushing and pulling, and squatting and bending are all the important movements. And I mean, there's a lot of different ways to go about it at home, at the gym. But if you get someone to help you, you can get the modifications that'll make it safe and feel good on your
Right.
body. So when it comes then, we've got people, they're going to the gym, they're trying to do better, they're trying to exercise, they're trying to get more consistency. Are there some little habits that you've noticed along your journey or with clients over the years that have had the biggest impact on long-term health? Like what kind of habits? I know my one friend, she says meal prep is her number one habit that has made a big difference on her long-term health. What do you think,
And
Dana?
well, your friend that meal preps, that's amazing because I would talk to folks about meal prepping and their eyes would roll back in their head. No one really wants to meal prep.
If four kids
Um,
here, I'm like, the food's all gone after dinner and I don't want to make more.
exactly, exactly. So I always say if you're going to do some meal prep on Sunday or Saturday, hey, let's do some hard-boiled eggs. Eggs are our cleanest protein. They're so nutrient dense. That's a great protein for you. So hard-boiled eggs, making if you use any type of clean protein powder, making protein bites, little like protein balls. Two of those would be a snack. That's a great thing that you can do on Sundays or over the weekend. Those two things are going to help your life immensely. And then if you feel like, oh, hey, I'm motivated, I'm going to cook up 6 chicken breasts, then
That
do
I
it.
do. Yes.
You'll be grateful.
There's
So
there's chicken breast in my fridge today for lunch
there you go.
from
Yep.
last night's dinner. I always make extra chicken. Everybody loves it.
So yeah, habits like that, and just keeping your bedtime the same. I know you all have heard that over and over and over. There's something to be said about that. If
Mm-hmm.
you can, if you're getting up at 5 a.m., really make an effort to get to bed at 9 and have everything calm down and be asleep by 9:30. 7 to 8 hours. Now, some of us we get by on 5 to 6, and that's okay. You know your body. But if you're in this stage now where we're perimenopausal, we're menopausal, we're postmenopausal, you need your sleep. Give yourself grace. I don't get up at 5:30 anymore. I get up at 6:30, 6:45, sometimes 7.
Mm.
It's okay, right? It's okay.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not into those early morning workouts, but for somebody who knows that they're just not going to get it done at any other point
Right.
in time, that's a habit that you just got to get into is getting up early and doing
Mhm.
it then, whatever works
And
for
how
you.
long does an habit take to develop, Carrie?
Well, I used to hear around 21 days, but I think it's longer just from
Hmm.
personal experience. I think it needs to be like a good month or two to really like miss it if you stop doing it.
Yeah, I think everything is 60 to 90 days.
Yeah,
When you
yeah,
want to
yeah.
develop a new habit,
Yeah,
whether
commit.
it's, yeah, you have to commit for 3 months.
Don't
You
give
really
up
do.
after the first. Yeah.
No, no.
Awesome. Okay, Dana, let's get into the nitty-gritty because everybody wants to know how you're looking so fabulous. And I'm telling you, ladies, she had a flat stomach and pipes. I saw her in a tank top. She had the guns out. Okay, so just give us a little breakdown of your typical day. Like, how often like Susan Slide told everybody she works out twice a day, where you're like, whoa, what? I guess I do because I do a long walk, plus I go to the gym, but hers sounded a little
It,
more intense. What about you, Dana? What's your daily routine? How many times would you work out a week, and how many times do you eat per day? And I know you're focusing obviously on protein from the sounds of
sure.
it. Just give us a
Sure.
little glimpse into your life.
Okay, sure. So, um, one of the things that I've done since I've gotten a little bit older, like in my late 50s, early 60s, is I take more time for recovery.
Mm,
Mm. And that's super important. And what has happened, it's made my workouts better.
hmm.
And my strength right now is the best it's ever been. I'm stronger now than I was in my 40s. like considerably stronger. So, and there's a couple things that I'm doing that's part of my routine. So, as far as my workouts, I actually lift heavy at least 2 times a week, always 2 times a week, sometimes three. I also like to get in one yoga.
Mhm.
People, even 20 minutes of yoga or stretching is going to make a difference in your life once a week. So
Mhm.
if you can get to a yoga class or you can go to a stretch lab or anything at all, please incorporate that. That's something I would encourage, along with 2 days, at least 2 days of strength training, up to three. And then I usually I have a Peloton, so maybe twice a week, one of my workouts will be a Peloton workout, maybe 30 to 45 minutes. Or if I don't do that, then I go out and I do a walk, which is usually 3.5 to 4.5 miles. So you can see I'm not doing anything strenuous. I
It's
mean,
not 2 to 3 hours a day, and I think some people think that's what, people that
yeah,
look good, that what we do. But I'm in the gym, like even I worked out before I got home to do this, and I only have 45 minutes because I was working in the morning,
exactly.
ran to the gym, did the 45 minutes, but I work out intensely and
Yes,
intentionally.
intentionally.
Intensely and intensely. I love those two words together
Yeah.
when I'm in the gym. And I broke a sweat, which is always a goal, and I stretched at the ends, but I got it done.
hmm And that's the key. It really is, Carrie, is, it doesn't have to be an hour and a half. You're not trying to outrun your fork when you're in the gym.
Mm.
Then you're doing it wrong, right? You're in the gym to build strength, to keep that lean muscle. I was gonna wear a sleeveless, I should have, but it's too cold here. Um, yeah, you want to keep that muscle, and you're not going to keep it if you're in there and you're like talking to your girlfriend and you're not focused. Do you know how many times I see people at the gym? They're on their bike, they're on their Stairmaster, they're on their treadmill, they're on their phones, or they're talking to their girlfriend the entire time. I want you to be a little breathless. I don't want you knitting, like knitting's a big thing, knitting on the bicycle. No, I want you focused on your movement. So,
You've seen
yeah,
people knitting on the bike?
stationary bikes. Yeah, stationary. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
I get
So,
that could be maybe good for the brain health, like to be,
oh yeah, it's
yeah.
stacking your habits, stacking your habits. So, you know, but it depends what your goals are. Do you want to make the
Yeah.
sweater or do you want to get
Yeah.
more fit? So,
You're definitely not getting stronger on the Cooper test if you're knitting and biking.
no, 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 you're
Okay.
not.
One last question, then we'll wrap this up. Is there any, like, just share with us, group of women, midlife and beyond? We've all faced challenges. Is there any one challenge you specifically think of that you've had to overcome along your health journey?
Sure. So I've had a couple health challenges. When I do something, I just don't get sick, it's like over the top. So in 2021 on my birthday, I'm an avid skier and I was with family, and I had a horrible ski accident, just freak accident. And I broke my left hip and had to get it completely replaced. So I broke the ball off.
Oh,
So what that did was here's this person that works out all the time and is training all these people, and I can't do anything, right? I'm learning to walk again. I'm learning to do my own thing. So that was huge. And I had some really good physical therapists. And, I went to physical, I would say if you ever get prescribed physical therapy, go and get it, see if you can get it for another 6 weeks. I
mm,
went for 13 weeks and it made a big difference for me. But it set me down and it made me realize, where's my focus? What do I want to do? So,
mhm,
like for my business, I became the CEO. I went LLC, right? So
mhm.
my business went like this because I decided that I was going to focus more on that,
Nice.
my leadership business. So, and then the other one was this past summer. Um, I had a great year, had a couple parties, turned 60, everyone's celebrating. And then I went in for a routine laparoscopic surgery that did not, it went well itself, but I had complications afterwards. So I ended up having to get what I would call a zipper cut in my abdomen last June. And what had happened was, just to kind of put it briefly, it set me back. It's called a Spalganian hernia. You won't ever hear of it. You'd have to look
No.
it up. But it's basically blockage. My obliques were so strong they had pushed my small intestines through the portal inside where they had cut out the ovary. So there was no stitch on the inside, right? So there was a place for it to go through. So it got twisted off. So nothing could get through me. So I lost 18 pounds. I couldn't eat like normal food for probably about 6 weeks. Again, importance of protein, collagen, creatine. I can only drink a little bit every day, like living on 200, 220 calories, because
Yeah.
that's the only thing that would stay down. So again, that made me think, okay, what am I doing? Do I need to work this hard? And since that time, I have become stronger and more fit than I ever was at
Wow.
the age now of 61. I was just talking about it I actually 2 years ago hired my own trainer and we were discussing it this morning. I'm doing things that he's always like, "Did you up the weight again?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did." And my balance is stronger, but it's just becoming giving yourself grace because things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And if anything at all, if you're not into working out, prioritize your nutrition, especially as you age, right? So you had touched on this before, Carrie. Maybe I'll share real quick. My non-negotiables
Mhm.
every day. What do I do when I get up? I get a glass of water. I got my little immersion blender. I throw in my electrolytes.
Mm.
That's the first thing I have in the morning with my vitamins. And I use an NAD. I
Mhm.
would recommend NAD.
Me too.
Recharge vitamin. Yes, that's super important. And then I'll have coffee. Who doesn't love coffee, right? So I have a great coffee. And then I'll have my breakfast. And my breakfast for me is usually a protein shake of some sort. So I'm getting 30 grams of protein at least in the morning, right? My goal is 150 grams every day.
And
I
it's
do
not
not,
easy to hit if you don't
as,
include like a meal replacement shake, protein shake.
right.
Like, yeah, sometimes you just need that help because it's hard to hit those
It
bigger
is.
targets for those of us that work out. We want to be like minimum 100 grams of
Right,
protein. It's not
right.
easy.
So if you're just out walking, if you can work on 80 to 100 grams of protein every day, and it's not hard if you supplement with a protein shake, and gosh, I just had lunch. My husband made lunch. I had 2 eggs and a half a cup of egg whites,
Nice.
right? Eggs are a wonderful protein, a piece of sourdough bread. Later today, I'll probably have a tuna packet and some protein crackers. And then tonight, I'll probably have a salmon or a fillet, something that I enjoy, food I enjoy, right? That is key to sticking with the habit of having good nutrition.
Yeah.
Um, so, and again, all those buzzwords, they're buzzwords for a reason. Protein is your superstar. Brain health, heart health, bone health, muscle health, collagen, bone health, muscle health, joint health, skin health, eye health, gum health, all the
Mm,
above. Magnesium, it's going to help you to sleep, it's going to help you to stay regular. Creatine has come back in.
mm,
The studies in 2025
yeah.
have come out that if you get 15 to 20 grams of creatine in you a day, it could help you with cognitive
Your
health,
brain
right?
health. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Incredible. Yeah.
Alzheimer's, dementia, look those things up because when there's science behind them, these are things that you should be doing. Help yourself, right? My mom told me once when I was 37, I didn't drink coffee, didn't like coffee. And she said to me, I had two young boys, and she goes, two babies basically. She said, Dana, sometimes you just have to help yourself. And she's like, it's okay to have a cup of coffee in the morning or the afternoon. And I was like, you know what? Absolutely. So I started drinking coffee and I love it. And it's one of my favorite things to do.
I love it. Thank you so much, Dana, for sharing all these nuggets of wisdom and for sharing, those stories that I didn't even know because I didn't ask you prior what your answers were to these questions. And, breaking a hip like that in your 50s and still getting beyond that and thriving and like you said, being stronger now even maybe than you were back then. Kudos to you.
Yeah.
But thank you
It,
so much for coming on and doing this today.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, Carrie. I enjoyed our time together. I look forward to our next visit.